That's a very interesting question because uh, it's kind of two parts. I mean, there is life, which is basically taking care of basic needs throughout the day, your physical, emotional, and mental needs throughout the day. And then there's society, which is all of the other people around us. And life is a roller coaster. It can have very tough times. It can have very easy times. It goes up and down. And what makes life bearable for human beings, because we are sentient, thinking and feeling creatures, is other people like us that enable us to get through the tough times so that we can help each other when we're having easy times. And I think that's universal across the globe, no matter where you live or what country you're from, what your nationality is or what your ethnicity is. I think we can all identify with one another that if someone's in trouble, we should try to help them. And so I think life is complicated and precious, and all of us are very, very lucky here. Acting is trying to convey the truth of a situation through a fictional means to an audience in order to tell a story, to present a philosophical point, or to entertain. So acting is taking on a persona and trying to portray them as truthfully as possible. Characteristics that I think I'm very good at during acting is being able to speak well, to portray a great depth of emotion is something that I think I'm good at. Being able to share the stage with other actors, that's also very important, and I think something I'm very good at. And also being to pick up the ball when somebody drops it. If somebody forgets a line or if somebody goes off script, I'm able to follow them because of extensive improvisational training. But I think those are the 5 characteristics that I'm really good at. Well, I've always wanted to be a storyteller ever since I was a little kid. Either acting out my favorite comic books or writing my own comic books. I always wanted to tell stories. I wanted to take people on a journey and to entertain them, to surprise them. So I learned really early on. I read a lot as a kid, and I really enjoyed the books that I was reading. And at some point I said, you know what, I want to try to do that. I want to write books. So that's how I became a writer. I think you have to have a very good command of the language that you're writing in, whether no matter what country you're from, language you speak, you really need to have a good command of whatever language that is, so that you can paint the right type of picture in with those words. I think you have to understand, much like acting, you have to understand the truth of your characters in your stories, what they want, what are the obstacles in their way, and how do they get around those obstacles to get what they want. You have to learn to tell stories in an interesting way, not just in a very linear from point A to point B kind of way, but the roundabout way, just like life. The different twists and turns that we all take to get to certain situations. You have to learn to portray your story in that way. You have to try to put the pieces together in such an interesting way that the reader can follow them, understand them, and still reach the same point that you want them to reach. And I think the last characteristics of a good writer is someone who can, in the space of a page or two, convey different types of emotions. They can make you shocked on 1 minute and then make you laugh the next. I think that's a learned skill that you get better over time. Inspirational to me are acts of goodwill that people perform for one another. Mr. Rogers has a great saying that in times of crisis, always look at people that are running towards the problem rather than the people that are running away. So whenever I see somebody who performs an act of self-sacrifice or goes out of their way to help when they could themselves be potentially in danger, that's very inspirational to me. Anytime that we can lift each other up, that's a cause for inspiration and celebration. I tried to make Zordon a very father-like figure, somebody who really cared for the Rangers. It's kind of easy to poke fun at the character because he is just a head in a tube, and his motivations for forming the team back in 1993 were very innocent, but in today's world, it's very easy to sort of point out that he was recruiting these kids to fight a war that wasn't their own, and that sort of thing. But as long as you can separate the show from real life and just enjoy it for what it is, I think Zordon is a very positive character. He tries to be very protective, and one of the things that I enjoy about the character is that he cannot help the Rangers physically. He cannot put himself between them and the danger. All he can do is support and encourage them, and I think that's a really important lesson for young kids to learn, that they can do it on their own as long as they have somebody behind them saying, you can do this, you can do this. And so I think that's very important for young people to learn. I do collect cinematic scores, the music from movies that you hear in the background, the orchestral stuff. I do collect that. I have like a collection of over 700 soundtracks that I listen to pretty much all the time. So that's what inspires me, and that's what I would consider sort of a passion.